Uh, Good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you on this very special occasion to launch Indian portraits, 8 Christian encounters with Hindu. It's a very august evening, a very special one, because very rarely someone from France comes to the highlands of Himalayas and starts loving the people, the culture, the heritage, and the dialogue begins. I will begin with a quote from a very famous French poet that is an inscription to this book. He knew all of us, loved us. May we this winter night from cape to cape, from noisy pool to the castle, from the crowd to the beach, from vision to vision, our strength and our feeling tired, hail him and see him and send him away. And under tides and on small summits of snow deserts, follow his eyes, his breathing, his body, his day. I read this extract, this stanza from Rimbaud, because this is what the book is about. This is closest to a poem, to a prayer that this book becomes. This is a poem to the interaction between East and West. I was fortunate to meet Yann by chance during pandemic in my wife's bookstore. It was a kind of long lost friends, mules on the desolate trails of life. We recognized each other right away. He came asking for a book on Mustang, and I was working on one of my books right in my wife's bookstore, and we somehow connected. I asked him for a cup of tea and we chatted. And then I learned that Yann is impassioned with this fire of spreading the word of God, in exploring the mystery of Christ, how the marriage of Christ took place in India, how his connection with India flourished and fostered. Normally, I mean, in Nepal, in India, in South Asia, we are a little wary of Christians, in a sense that when you meet a Christian, they are aggressive in a way to kind of convince you to become a Christian. This is the normal impression that you have, but not so with Yann. And my first impression was very authentic and very long-lasting. As I came to know more of him, I learned this is something different. This is something entirely. When I was a child, I was in company of these holy people, the Naga sadhus. At one point, my father took me to one of those people, and he said, "Guru, I want to donate this boy to you. Accept him as my gift." The yogi, imagine this guy with dreadlocks and ash over his body. He looked at me. I was 7-year-old, and he said, "He's a good boy, send him to school." If he hadn't said that, you have no idea what my life would become like and how I would look like today. But I served them. I lived in their company. I washed their dishes. I washed their clothes. I worked for them, and they blessed me. The innate spirituality of a holy man I can understand, and I associate myself very deeply with. The concept of guruship that this book talks about. In a very imaginative way, this book is, as I said, like a poem, a spiritual poem. He describes this book as 8 portraits, meaning they are paintings, as he discusses in the introduction. There are 8 paintings, and they are set in such a way that they enthrall you in the end. But when I was reading it, I was looking at as a poem, 8 poems. They go deep into the soul of humanity, into the suffering, into the heart of darkness that there exists in human lives. Especially, everyone has heard of Mother Teresa and her suffering. But the book doesn't deal with the holy ship. It deals with the vocation of being a holy man, of serving humanity. These are 8 foreigners or local Indians, South Asians, who somehow got connected with Christianity, but instead of being aggressive and thinking other, he, them, they incorporated themselves. They immersed themselves in the idea of India, the idea of extremes. So, I was very touched by, everybody wants to know why Mother Teresa was working so hard and living with these lepers and these downtrodden people. There are many theories and many documentaries you see. I was touched when he says that in 2005, a letter was discovered saying that Mother Teresa was so much into these downtrodden, into the lepers, into these very, at margin of the society, because she had a kind of vision that God has disowned her. And she wanted to belong to those who have been dispossessed by the society, by the God, by everybody in this world. So in such way, how this book, how it delves into the inner core of Hinduism and Christianity, and goes into the heart of suffering, and how this suffering transmutes these holy people into doing what they are doing. So, also how he fuses the Hindu motives, Hindu modes of worship, Hindu terminology into Christian world, like darshan. Darshan is very Hindu idea. Like when you see a holy person, you bow to him and you are enthralled by their vision, by their presence. But he uses this in the image of Mother Teresa, and also the idea of Mother Goddess, Devi, Kali. On the god, he talks in the book on the gods of Kali. They are sacrificing these goats. The whole idea is to reach the heart of Mother by violence, whereas Mother Teresa goes to the same dark hole through peace, through helping the suffering. So these are kind of, and also the other and one of the holy men, he has a dream of Indian child. He's carrying in a child and he's saying, more, give me more, give me more. And he comes to India and he spends his entire life there trying to help the people. The thing that distinguishes this book from ordinary Christian books or Hindu books is that it doesn't speak of one language. It doesn't speak for Hinduism or for Christianity. It tries to speak for the humanity as a whole. So, as he says, wherever you go, I will go. Your people are my people. Your gods will be my gods. When you die, I will die. So this evolution of humanity and as identification with the humanity, regardless of which religion you belong to. I have never seen anybody so happy when we got the Nepal Mahatmya translated into, published a second edition. Yann was thrilled. He said, my God, you got Nepal Mahatmya in English. Amazing. Also, he talks of these, the whole idea of, as I was talking, the Sanskrit, like the priesthood, idea of priesthood, and also the idea of worship as an ultimate measure to reach God. And then how he's talking about the pre-Christian figures that somehow get related to Hindu gods and to Hindu mode of worship. It's an amazing book, and I cannot. So so hard to delve into these paradoxes and to understand how he and all the 8 portraits that he has been discovering and working with, how they overcome all these disparities and these contradictions. The Himalayan sanctuaries, Kedarnath, Muktinath, Badrinath, and the cosmic convent of these holy figures, be it Christian or be it Hindu. I think I will put this book as same level as Nepal Mahatmya, where they put Hindu, they put in this kind of book which puts Buddha, Shiva, and Vishnu on the same platter. So Hinduism, Buddhism, and Christianity, there's no disparity in them. They are like you go to Hindu shrines, there are Buddhist statues there. When you go to Hindu shrines, there are Buddhist, idols there. So this Nepal Mahatmya is this book that kind of preached this idea of universal brotherhood, of syncretism, of a kind of a union of different religions and faiths. And I think this book kind of attempts that kind of religious harmony, religious coexistence. I'm still looking, when I was reading this book, I want to actually publish or read The Mountain of the Lord by your Guru. That is a seminal book. And I think hopefully I get a chance to publish it or at least read it. I don't know how far. He is quoting Rig Veda and the idea of, you must have, those who study literature must have, Hemingway says that, writing is like iceberg and only tip of the iceberg is, and Rig Veda, the idea of the priesthood is like iceberg. So only the whole idea, that only tip is you see. The inner, larger content of priesthood is all this, the fusion of visions and religions. It's a great tribute to humanity. And I'm so glad that he has come to Nepal, and hopefully we will have an amazing book on Nepal also. With this, I try to conclude. Thank you very much. So we want to formally launch the book. So I will ask Srijana Bhandari and Sharma of White Lotus Bookshop to present the book to His Excellency Zil Bobao, who will launch the book and grace us.
Excuse me, sir.